the disco. Let me tell you what happened to me the other day. At the Piggly, standing in line, feeling nervous, waiting my time. Then a large can fell from my coat, so I shouted before they took note. Who threw that ham at me? Who threw that ham at me? Hey, please, did anyone see? Who threw that ham at me?
I want to go home now, you idiots.
Okay, disco garbage can. Yeah, flip your lid. Disco garbage can. Flip your lid. Yeah, get down. Alright. Twirl. Everyone twirl. So I turned and walked away. Like later on I would go and pay. Then it happened when I stopped. A frozen bird fell with a plop.
My family is waiting for me.
A frozen bird fell with a plop. Who flung this turkey at me? Who flung this turkey at me? What's going on? Didn't you see? Someone threw a turkey at me. Yeah, disco garbage can, everybody. Yeah, flip your lid. Disco garbage can. Yeah, do the disco garbage can. Who threw that ham at me? Who threw that ham at me? Hey, didn't anybody see? Who threw that ham at me? Who threw that ham at me? Disco garbage can, everybody. Yeah, get down. Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, go for it, baby. Yeah, that's really great. Well, everybody, I've made my scene here at the disco tonight, so I'm going on to the next disco. Hopefully, I'll see you there.
Hey guys, Dave Darren here. Welcome to the show. Remember that theme song? I'm sure you guys all missed that theme song before I got all politically motivated. But today's show, baby boomers. Parents do not tolerate the attitude of today's youth, but we are responsible for the results. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to tell you today why I feel that's so. Let me make sure I'm centered on my screen because I've moved things around a bit. Today's shirt, by the way, is an Arizona Diamondback shirt. Kind of cool, right? How about the back of this shirt? Let me see if I can turn it around and show you the back of the shirt. I don't know if it's showing. Don't look at the butt. But it's a cool shirt. This is another one of my crazy Robert Graham shirts. It's kind of, and I still admire baseball. Now, I haven't been to a game for a while to see if the players are taking a knee, so I can't really be sure of that. I haven't even watched any sports at all, including baseball on TV. So I have no idea if they're disrespecting us or not as people in the stands while they're taking a knee. But today's topic, baby boomers. Now, something happened over the course of the last 3 days, and I'm going to tell you what's happened, where I'm going to address today's youth, and I'm going to fast forward and tell you why today's youth are responsible for the way we are in a political nightmare that we're in. So hold on, let me grab a little sip of tea. All right, so here we go. You guys know I live in Arizona. I got the Arizona Diamondback shirt on today to prove it. But we walk our dog in this park, and it's actually a park that's part of a government building. It says an administration building there. So we're throwing the ball in that parking lot there. It's a big grass area. There's a lake there. There's ducks there. There's actually, in Arizona, we do have cranes, which are kind of cool to see that big, magnificent bird flying around, and it's amazing. Let me make sure I'm centered on the screen here. It looks like I'm not. Now I probably am better. Okay, so here I am at the park, right? So I'm there throwing a ball with Willie, our dog, our Belgian Shepherd called a Tervuren Shepherd, which is a sister breed of the Malinois, which is the police dog, right? So we're throwing our ball there, and I noticed these couple kids there. I've seen them there before, like maybe 2 or 3 times, and they're playing volleyball, and they're throwing the ball up there. So I don't pay any mind to them, so that's kind of cool. They're playing volleyball. It's great to see kids out there having some kind of a sport event going on instead of sitting in front of their PlayStation playing video games, right? So then I noticed 3 days ago. It was 3 days ago. Yesterday, it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. 2 days ago. So I'm there 2 days ago, throwing the ball with Willie, and I see these 2 kids that are usually playing volleyball. I see them there in the back of the building, the back of the administration building, where they have the shipping department, where they ship things out or get things shipped in. And they've got laid on the ground there some pallets. You know what pallets are? They're the things that are the press board, and they're boards, and you pile the stuff on top. So if it's moisture on the bottom, it's not touching the bottom of the box. You guys do know what pallets are. Those wooden pallets. So there's the wooden pallets there. And the 2 kids that are about 6, I'm going to guess on their ages, about 7 years old and about 9 or 10 years old. So you got the ages there, right? So they're there in the back of the administration building where they got the pallets, and they're jumping on the pallets to break the pallets. And these are not the best conditioned pallets, by the way. So they do have the risk that if they jump on the pallet, they're going to get a splinter in their leg, right? Because the pallets are all fucked up. So they're jumping on the pallets. So I go over there with our dog Willie, and my wife, who stands behind me because she doesn't like confrontation. Japanese people do not like confrontation. In fact, today's generations do not like confrontation. But the baby boomers, you know, we try to educate people to be respectful of property, of other people's property, all right? So I go there and I talk to the kids. I say, you know, like, you guys, these pallets don't belong to you. They're part of the administration building. Why are you busting them up? And they're looking at me like, oh my God, how could you come over to me and teach me or try to tell me what I need to be doing or not doing? I mean, this is what happens. Their parents don't teach them respect. So my God, some guy coming out of the woodwork like me to try to teach them the respect that their parents haven't taught them is like unconscionable to these kids. So the kids are looking at me like I'm out of my mind. You get the pallets here, they're outside, they're jumping on the pallets to break them. Why not? Why can't I do that, Dave? What are you trying to teach me here? So they're looking at me like I'm out of my mind. So I tell them, I said, how would you like it if I went to your house and started breaking stuff up? You won't believe the excuse I got from the girl who's about, she had to be like 10, I'm assuming. She said it's happened before. So in other words, it's happened in her house that someone has vandalized something in the front of her house. I don't know what but she said it's happened before. And I told her, I said, but it's happened before to your house, so what are you going to do? You're going to go out to other people's property and have revenge on them by busting up stuff that doesn't belong to you? So they're like thinking to themselves, like, how could this guy come up and have a confrontation with them? So they walk away, and I noticed, my wife noticed, I didn't notice, that one of the kids had his cell phone and was calling someone up. So my wife thought she was calling up, he was calling up, or she was calling up the parent of them to come here and talk to me about how I could be the parental figure that they are supposed to be. And I was actually hoping that their parent would come. But no, you know what happens? You're going to guess if that didn't happen, what happened? They get their 16 or 17-year-old brother to come. And the brother comes, now we're back then, we're throwing the ball again with Willie, so I'm a little distance away from them. So what happens is the 16-year-old or 17-year-old Kim comes over, and he's at the pallet because he's thinking, okay, so I'm a 16, 17-year-old guy. We got this what? We got this old dude here telling me what to do? He's trying to tell my brother and sister what to do, assuming it's a brother and sister and not a friend, I'm not sure. But he's over there belligerently jumping and then pulling on the board to break it off. So I went over to him and I said, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? That doesn't belong to you. I told your brother and sister not to do that. And they went away, and here you are. And he's like looking at me like I'm out of my mind. I said, you know what? I'm going to throw the ball with our dog Willie right here so that you leave that friggin' area alone and get out of here and leave. So he gets out of there and he leaves. And as he's getting a distance from me, then he's getting more and more vocal against me. he's not going to have a confrontation in front of me because I'm a pretty big guy. And now, like I told you guys, to survive COVID-19, I decided to muscle up. So I'm not there to have a confrontation with the guy because I'm smart enough not to have a confrontation with a minor, all right? I'm not going to have a physical confrontation with a minor. Now, if the guy's father comes over and there's going to be a physical confrontation, I'm ready for him. Trust me, I am ready for a physical confrontation with a fucking lunatic at any point in my life, all right? So what happens is he's walking away and he's getting worried with me. And I tell the kid this, I say, you know what, unfortunately, I'm not your age where I would teach you a lesson that would be physical. And he walks away, and that's the end of it. That's the end of it for that day, all right? Let me get another sip of tea here. And I'll fast forward to today, and then I'll fast forward to how this situation reflects directly on the situation that we're in America today, all right? So I'm there today. Same park, different time of the day. I'm there today. My wife's there with me. Willie's there with the ball. We're throwing the ball. And I see two kids again. Now, I couldn't see if they were the same kids because today it happens to be cooler in Arizona by about 20 degrees. It was like 80 degrees a couple days ago. Today it's like 60 degrees. So they're in jackets because they're wimps, right? When I was a kid, 60 degrees, we didn't wear jackets. We're still out there with shorts and short sleeve shirts. And we're still out there because we were a different generation of people. So they're there with their little jackets on, right? So I couldn't tell if they're the same kids, but they're there near the pallet. And as soon as they saw me there with Willie, the two kids are at the pallet and they're jumping on it to bust it up again, directly because I am there to be spiteful, spite and revenge because I'm there again, right? So initially, I figured, I'm going to ignore them today. I'm not going to have another second dealing with them. My wife's there saying, look, they didn't learn a lesson at all, so leave them alone. So I did to a degree, and then after a while, my head starts to boil, and I decide, I got to still teach them a lesson. So I'm walking towards them, and I left this part out. The two kids are there, and then suddenly another kid comes up, about 16-year-old, so I'm assuming it's that same kid. Now he's got a baseball bat, all right? Now he's going over there to the pallet with the baseball bat, and he's smashing the pallet now with the baseball bat. So that made me want to go over and then have a confrontation with them again. So I'm approaching them again, and now they start to walk away at a very fast pace to get away from me as quickly as they could. All right, so then I went into the police station with our dog, who's a Belgian Shepherd, and the police use Belgian Shepherds now. That's their breed of dog that they use. And I'm there, and I'm asking the policeman, what can we do? Because they're there vandalizing property. Granted, it's just a couple pallets, but it's going to start there, and it's going to end up that they're going to end up in jail because obviously they're delinquents. And this is what we got today. We got this coronavirus that's making kids stay home, maybe being homeschooled by parents who do not know how to teach their children how to be respectful. They're trying to teach them math, but how about we start teaching them how to respect people, respect people's property, and respect people in general? And obviously that's not a lesson that's taught these days, right? That's a completely neglected lesson. So a policewoman who's about my age, actually not, she's about 50 years old, I'm 62. She's there and she said, yeah, today's youth are like this, they're rebellious, they're disrespectful, and she's telling me all the stuff that I know already, all right? So that ended, all right? Bottom line, this is what I'm going to tell you. This is how it reflects to baby boomers, of which I am 62 years old, so I am a baby boomer. I don't know if I'm in the beginning, middle, or end of the baby boomer generation, but I am a baby boomer, all right? This is what's happened. I remember when I was a kid, I would not be breaking up pallets, by the way, but I do remember some of the kids that were approximately my age were equally as destructive as the kids I saw today and as equally disrespectful as the kids I saw today. Now, I was not like that. Now, why was I not like that? Because my parents were people that would teach me respect, and if I didn't respect others or other people's property, my ass would be beat by a belt. And now today's parents cannot do that because their kids will have lawsuits against them. The teachers in school cannot teach them any respect. Let's see. We got some call here. Let's see who this is. Hello? Hello?
This is an urgent message for the vehicle owner. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. You should have received something in the mail about your car's extended warranty. Since we have not gotten a response, we are giving you a final courtesy call before we close out your file. Press 2 to be removed and put on our do not call list. Press 1 to speak with someone about possibly extending or...
little bit of comedy here, then I'll get back to the point. A little bit of comedy for you guys that like comedy, and when I used to be comic book. Classical music. See if I can mess with a telemarketer. Waiting a long time here, aren't I? If you're going to call me, answer the phone quickly. How long do they expect us to wait for them to give us a sales spiel? That's it. You know, if you're going to call me up and telemarket me, when you have me press a number, connect me immediately, right? And learn something about business. This is ridiculous. So let me get back to the point that I was making. All right, and the point is, baby boomers. Like I said, some kids my age, the baby boomer age, were disrespectful and they were out of control. I wasn't, because my parents would whip my ass if I was disrespectful or if I did something wrong. I remember there was one time where something happened and I said, it's his fault. And I pointed to the guy in my school. I was probably in like 4th grade or something. I said it was him. You know what? My parents hit me and spanked me to teach me a lesson to not deal with that idiot and know who the people who my friends are and stay away from the troublemakers. So I got spanked even though I was legitimately innocent. I got spanked and I got reprimanded. I got taught I got taught to judge people, even though I was at a young age, judge my friends and my peers more appropriately. So I was taught a lesson via a hand spanking, all right? So this is what I got to say. I got to say this is what's happened. I remember my parent, and I went to a Catholic school, believe it or not. And when you're in a Catholic school, the nuns would actually pull your sideburns, or they would take a ruler to your hand and hit it, or you would get spanked with a ruler in the ass. And I remember you could get spanked physically over the knee of a nun, spanked with a ruler. And legitimately, it was like that in the Catholic school I went to. Now, I grew up and I went to a Roman Catholic school in an Italian section of Philadelphia, in South Philadelphia, tough neighborhood where the nuns had to be tough. But they taught you to be fearful of that nun. You were afraid of that nun. You were afraid that if you were disrespectful in that school, that you were going to pay a consequence for that amount of disrespect. So here's what's happened. Millennials, remember the kid my age, we grow up. The kids that were my age, that were baby boomers, that their parents let them get away with shit, are the ones that began the situation of the baby boomers being the last generation of good, great people, a great generation, but the baby boomers were the beginning of the generation that was starting the downfall of American society. And how can I say that? I can say that specifically because of the kids that I knew in my school that were the troublemakers, the disrespectful ones, the ones that actually went to the school that I think it was the high school I went to. They went into the restroom and they tore down all they didn't just take the hand wiping paper and throw it over the floor. They didn't do that. They actually ripped the equipment off of the wall. So these are the people that did not respect the high school property I went to. I went to Central High School in Philadelphia, Ogonson Avenue, if you look it up. They actually vandalized the high school. They destroyed the public bathroom that we went to use the bathroom. Not by throwing tissue paper or toilet paper all over the floor. They physically ripped the equipment off the wall, broke the light fixtures. They destroyed the bathroom. Baby boomers, right? My age. Disrespectful ones that their parents did not teach them to be respectful. Remember, the baby boomers were the last generation of the great generation, but they were the first generation that did not teach their children to be respectful. Or I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? The parents of the baby boomers did not teach us to be respectful. So while we were not taught respect, us baby boomers, when we grew up and we had children, so a baby boomer now, I would have to think of my baby boomer age. I might have been 25 or 28 when I might have had my first child. So that child would be the generation of the parent of the children that I met today in that school, that administration building, right? So it's the baby boomers' children. So now if you take the baby boomers that grew up, that were not in a household that was taught respect, the ones that ripped the stuff off the wall in the restroom in the Central High School of Philadelphia, those children, when they grew up to be the baby boomers that had children, and those children were not taught respect at all. Because here's what happened. The baby boomers were the first generation of people. I'm drinking tea here, so I got some of the tea leaf. So the baby boomers were the first generation of people, of parents, that became very competitive, economically and materialistically interested in proving to their neighbors that they were a better class of people. They had more money. They had the BMW. They had the bigger house. Baby boomers were probably one of the first generations to be motivated by materialistic things. The BMW in the garage, the Mercedes in the garage, the Jaguar in the garage, the bigger house, moving out of that neighborhood into a better neighborhood with a bigger house. First generation of people to do that. How did they accomplish that? The husband and the wife, or the mother and father, both went to work. They both went to work and they came home at night. And what did they do? They saw their kids there. They didn't have time to deal with their child. They're tired. And they took a little bit of work home. They're busy with work. They have to pay for their mortgage of their bigger house that they could barely afford. They had to make sure that they could pay that BMW. They wanted to get the newer BMW because their car was already 2 years old. They wanted a new model of BMW because their neighbor across the street has a new model of BMW. They got to compete with that, so how did they do that? They both worked. Both absentee parents. Kid comes home. What do? They can't deal with that child because they're too busy in the day. They're too tired at night. They give that child the they give that child the discipline of giving him a PlayStation to go in his room and play on the PlayStation. They divert that child's attention to the PlayStation. So the child then is not taught respect. The child is taught that, okay, I'm going to be given stuff so that I get out of my parents' way. I'm going to be rewarded with stuff instead of being disciplined. My discipline now is to being diverted to materialistic stuff. Again, taught none of the respect, none of the discipline, none of the you get this when you earn it type of attitude. I remember I wasn't given stuff. I had to do my chores, and I would be given an allowance. If I didn't do the chores, I would not get the allowance. Today's kids are just given stuff to get them out of the way of the parent who's there, both parent working, to get that BMW in the bigger house. So that's what took place. That's what took place with the generation of myself and the child that I would have. I, as a baby boomer, the baby boomer who wasn't brought up with respect, would then have a child, give the child that PlayStation, and when that child grows up, that child, which would be my child, would then have the child of the kids that I saw in today's schoolyard or administration building, busting stuff up because they were not taught respect. So bottom line, this whole story I'm talking to you about is just a demonstration of what I saw today about the lack of respect that that children have today for any generation that is older than them. Basically, that's what it is. They don't respect their parent. They don't respect their parent's parent, their grandparent. And if they still have a great-grandparent, they're going to think of them as being insignificant relics. Now, how does that go towards politics today? I should not drink tea when I do these shows because the tea leaves, you can see it in the coffee cup here, are tickling my throat. I should just drink water when I do shows like this. So, politics today. What do we have today? We have police that now there's the defund police. They want to defund and disorganize and get rid of the police departments across the country. We have the Black Lives Matter. A faction of their group are the terrorists within that group that you did not hear the Black Lives Matter leaders telling us forthright with their leadership that they're denouncing those groups of terrorists within Black Lives Matter. We have Antifa, the terrorists amongst them, which the majority of them are terrorists. It's not a faction of Black Lives Matter. It's the entire Antifa group who are terrorists, and they are burning down buildings. And now you have the generation of people that now no longer will have a confrontation with them. And I will bring it to, my wife even said, when I was there and those kids were busting up the pallets, my wife saw the gardener. She said, Why don't you go to the gardener and tell the gardener to talk to the kids? And I told her the gardener's not going to get involved. He's over there to cut the trees, the branches. We had a big storm yesterday. He's there to rake up the leaves. He's not going to get involved with the kids breaking up the pallet because he has no connection to the administration building except cleaning up the lawn. If you go into the administration building is not going to send anyone from the building out to talk to the kids because the teachers can't talk and educate and teach the children responsibility. So the teachers can't do it. You think anyone from the administration building who's not even a teacher, who's just there working at the administration building, you think he's going to come out or her come out and talk to the kids about respect and not breaking property? Of course not. There is no one else in the world of generations younger than the baby boomer generations who's going to hold anyone responsible for any of the stuff that they're doing. Destruction, vandalism, terrorism, it's not taking place. So what I mean by all of this is that we see today President Trump. President Trump is someone who wanted to instill responsibility, self-respect for the country, respect for our borders, enforcing that via the powers that he has in his ability as President of the United States. We see him blocking the borders. We see him supporting the police. We see him supporting and enhancing our military to be stronger. And what do we have? We have the baby boomers who are disrespectful, their children that are disrespectful, their younger children who aren't yet of age to vote, but they're getting closer. We see these groups of people who just do not want to have a respectful America that respects each other, respects authority, respects discipline. We don't want any of that, so therefore we don't want President Trump to continue because he is a representative of respect, of discipline, of law and order, of an enforcement. That's what we've got going on in America today. We have generations of people from the baby boomers and the baby boomers responsible for this initial beginnings of the downfall of America. We've got the baby boomers and generations after them who have destroyed the American way of being. We used to be a country that was respectful. We used to respect people's property. We used to be honest. We used to be caring for each other. And then it's all fallen apart. You see it in today's youth. You see it in the younger people that are voting. You see it in the young people that are voting at the age of 20. We see it in their parents as people that lack discipline. They lack respect. They lack respect for each other and authority. And that is exactly why people want Trump out of office, because he is the last threshold of respect, responsibility, a strong military, a strong police force, and today's younger generations do not want that. They want the ability for themselves to go out there undisciplined, unchecked, to do whatever they want, no matter who it impacts, no matter what the consequence. They want the ability to do whatever they want, no matter how destructive it is to themselves, their neighbors, their neighborhood, their city, their state, or their country, or the world. That's what we've got, and I saw it firsthand 2 days ago, and I saw it firsthand today. The reasons why we have a destruction of America. Good to see Curtis. Good to see John. And E. Mason said E. He's put the letter E there. There's more letters in the alphabet than E. Tell me what you were going to say beyond it. That's all I got for today. That's it. And I better not drink tea during these broadcasts. Talk to you guys later. Here is the closer of the Dave Darren Show. Cheers, guys.
Sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
I don't even wanna keep the score. She's stuck